To my singles out there, hello. Welcome to Simply Stacy, where the joy of the Lord is our strength. Well, quick message to all of you that are waiting on God, that are waiting on a husband, that are waiting on a wife. Let me tell you something, babies. Learn the rules of elimination. That's what I call them. Because so many people in God don't really know the rules and regulations. They don't have boundaries set for themselves. They don't know what they want to make. And the stuff that they do want is superficial things. But when you get in that relationship with that person and you get in your everyday life, that's how I put it. Your everyday life, you're going to work, you're paying bills, you're having children, or you've been previously married, and then you're learning this person and their family, their children. All the little things that come with being married that in the honeymoon stage, you're thinking about it, but you're not really focused on it. But once you get in the marriage and all of the adrenaline is gone and all these type of things, you're going to be looking for them substance things in that person. You're going to want to see the substance. I just did a message on the fruit of the Spirit. You're going to be looking for those things from the fruit of the Spirit. You don't want somebody that's easily puffed up. You don't want somebody that, they ain't got no patience. You don't want nobody that's not going to be kind and gentle with you. You're not going to want somebody that's not going to long suffer with you. The moment that you do something wrong, they tripping and flipping, are ready to cut you off, ready to get divorced. They're not going to long suffer with you. A lot of people are not committed today. That's part of that long suffering. Babies, you want to do the rules of elimination. That's what I call them. I'm writing a book right now that's going to be dealing with this topic. The number one thing is you don't want to be unequally yoked. So how can you be unequally yoked with somebody? Number one, they're unsaved. They have not confessed the Lord Jesus Christ as their Savior. You have. You're trying to serve God. You're trying to follow His laws, His rules, His regulations. This person ain't saved. How are they going to be serving your God? You got two different gods. It's going to be a battle and warfare in that house. You see it with your friendships. You got saved. You had unsaved friends. Could you continue to hang with them? And if you do continue to hang with them, you're always in a battle. You're in constant warfare. The things that you're trying to stop doing, they're still doing, and it's a battle with you. Your mind is tormented. You want to keep doing those worldly things. You're battling because you just came out of that. You got to learn your new life. That's the same thing with a mate. You're going to be living with them every day. You're not going to see them every now and then. You're going to be living with them every day. So if they're unsaved and they have not accepted the God that you accept, you're going to have warfare. It's really a no-brainer, but for a lot of people, it's not a no-brainer because they go in there with this mindset thinking that you're going to be able to change them. You can't even change yourself. I learned that about myself years ago. I can't even change Stacy. How in the world am I going to go in there and change somebody else? On top of it, I'm not God. God gave us free will as human beings. He don't even make us serve Him. So how am I going to go in there and make somebody serve God when I can't even make myself serve Him? I'm still flawed. I still got to make the decisions to serve God and follow His rules, regulations, and His laws. So how can I make anybody else do that? It is an individual decision. So if that person does not want to accept the God that you serve, you will be unequally yoked. Now, that's not the only way that you can be unequally yoked. You can meet somebody that's claiming Jesus, but they're in a whole different mindset. They may not be following His laws. They may be going with this grace message that's going around that, we fall down, but we get up. Yes, you do. But you are striving to do the things of God. You are not going to sit up here and say, okay, I know I ain't supposed to be fornicating, but Lord, I can't help myself and go right on into fornication and fornicate. You're not going to try to be a liar intentionally. You're not going to try to go out here and lie when you know you ain't supposed to lie. You're going to follow God's laws, rules, and regulations. You need somebody in that same mindset. In that same level of consciousness as you are. Like where I'm at right now in my life with God, in my walk with God. I ain't fooling a bunch of foolishness. I'm not even having it out of myself. So when a man come in my life, he can't be about that foolishness. He's got to really be about Jesus, honey. He got to really be about my Lord and my Savior. You know, I'm not playing games with God. I'm in this. I'm in this. I love God. So I need somebody with that same mindset. They love God. They want to do the things of God. Not just religion, just going to church, going through the motions, but yet when they get out of the church and get out of the building, sometimes it's still in the building doing things that is not lined up with God's word. But you're unequally yoked with them. That's another way you're unequally yoked. You know, just like a lot of women, they're unequally yoked with a lot of these guys. They're still immature. They're not even ready to take the responsibility of paying bills, getting a job, you know, taking the responsibility for the children that they bring in and father into this earth. You're unequally yoked. You're not in the same mindset. You're not even in the same rim. You got a house. He ain't even don't even want to get a house. He's got a whole scheme to get up in your house. You're unequally yoked because you're trying to do the right thing. You're trying to be responsible. You're trying to be in a committed relationship. You know, you're unequally yoked. A lot of people, especially women, you got people, and men too, you got people in your life that, you know, some of you are dating them. They don't even want to be married. But you got a mind you want to be married. You're unequally yoked. Leave them people alone. Don't try to make them marry you and want to be married and try to convince them why they need to be married. No, you wait on somebody that's going to come along that wants to be married. See, a lot of battles don't have to be battles when we make the decision that we know what we want and we got our boundaries. You know, in my life, I know what I want. You know, I know not that, you know, a man come in my life and he just want to have fun and have a good time and he don't want to serve God and don't want to be married. That's not the man for me because I'm thinking marriage. You know, we ain't just going to be out here having no fun and doing all this kind of stuff and just dating and stuff. Then one day you just like, I'm gone, you know, it's over. Our fun is over because a lot of people like that. They get bored. They're not committed people. They're not relationship people. You know, they come into your life. You know, these little short-term relationships come into your life and then they open your heart all up and get all in your life and stuff. And then when they get tired of you, because a lot of people get bored easy because they got spirits on them and stuff. They go into it and long as it's in that little honeymoon stage where it's all about fun and they so excited about meeting you and being in your space. But as soon as it becomes work, you know, because you're not always going to be there. The drilling is always not going to be flowing. This is real life. The drilling is not always going to be flowing that like when you first meet somebody. There's going to be days they're going to get on your nerves. But you got to make a decision that I love this person. I want to please this person. I want to do right by this person. I don't want to be nasty to this person. I don't want to talk out my mouth any kind of way to this person. Babies, you got to do the rules of elimination. Number 2, if they're married, they're unavailable. You ain't supposed to be dealing with nobody married. If they're dating people, they're unavailable. If they got people that they're screwing on a part-time basis, they're not available either. They done made a soul tie with somebody. And then they got lust. That's a whole nother thing that you're dealing with. That lust just don't come off for you because you get married. A lot of people that's married know that. They got a lot of cheating spouses, male or female, out here cheating. Because they went into that relationship with lust and they got lust, and marriage is not the remedy for lust. You got to deal with that. You got to deal with that before you get in a relationship with somebody. Because just because you married, it's not going to make you grow a conscience and be like, oh, I'm not going to cheat now. No, as soon as they see something that they like and that little lust spirit is in them, they're going to go with it. So you want to make sure that somebody done learn how to have self-control. Self-control is one of the fruits of the spirit. If they have not learned self-control, they're not going to have self-control in the marriage. You need to feel that out in people and see where they're at. If you meet them and they dealing with 3-4 different women trying to feel like which one is going to be their boo, believe me, that person has lust. They have not learned self-control. They ain't came to that maturity yet to how to discern, you know, people of God. That's why I did that video on fruits of the spirit, because you need to know the fruits of the spirit to be able to discern if this person is of God and if they're not. See, all this comes with maturity. And this is why a lot of people is winding up in these bad relationships and making these bad decisions. You got to get in the word. God got everything in that word that we need that if we apply it to our life, it's a safe haven. It protects us from the enemy. And not that the enemy ain't going to come. Like I said, weapons will form, but that don't mean they got to prosper. You'll be able to see that enemy from afar off, but you got to get your weapons. And one of your weapons is knowing the word of God and knowing his ways. And the fruit of the Spirit is one thing you need to know. What are the fruit of the Spirit? So that you can stand against the wiles of the enemy. And the major wile that the enemy is coming with is when he brings these people in your life to be your companions. That's why a lot of people are being taken out. They done made soul ties and connections with the enemy. Yes, that's their boo. That's their wife. That's their husband. But they just locked down with the enemy. Unknowingly. Because as the word said, because of the lack of knowledge, my people are perishing. That's why so many people in the body of Christ, marriages are perishing. Because they're under contracts and not covenant. God didn't bring these people together. That's why he said, what he has joined together, let no man put asunder. God ain't joined a lot of these people together. I know he didn't join me with that husband I had. My flesh did. And I'm here to admit it. Because I have grown up in the natural and in the spirit. You know, God, the enemy tries to get you when you're in your infantile state. When you don't know a lot of stuff. When you're innocent. It's just like putting an innocent child out in the woods. And it's a bunch of animals out there, tigers, lions, and bears. He don't know how to fight and protect himself. And that's how you are. None of us be born into this earth knowing everything. We don't know nothing. We're learning as we go along. We learn from the environment that we put in. I always use this illustration. When a baby's born, that's why little kids, when they start growing up, they touching this. You got to, don't do that. Don't touch that because you're scared they're going to get hurt. You know, but they're touching stuff and feeling stuff and exploring their environment that they're in because that's how they're learning. So according to the family that you're born into, you're learning from that family. If it's dysfunctional, you learn dysfunctional things. Everybody has some good things to offer, but you also learn the bad things they offer. So if you're born into a family that don't know how to discern good from evil, they got bad relationships, you're learning. You're learning. Even if it's an uncommunicated message, because we learn from what we see and the actions that is played out before us. And that's what a lot of you have done. You've learned the dysfunction from the families and the friends that you've been around. But God, when you come to God, he wants you to teach you his ways. He wants you to get your mind renewed so that you won't be deceived by the enemy. And that's why you need to learn God's ways so you can do the rules of elimination. That's why I call them that. Once you learn God's ways, you can rule out a lot of this stuff. They're not saved. They're married. They're not walking in the will of God. They don't have the fruit of the Spirit. You know, you can eliminate a lot of stuff. You know, like ladies, when you see these men in our lives and stuff like that, and they want to come to you and stuff, how are they taking care of themselves? They don't have a roof over their own head. They don't even have their own transportation. They're not even willing to go get a job to take care of themselves. So why do you think he's going to take care of you? Why do you think he's going to hold a fork down for you? Let me tell you something. A lot of men, they go out here and look at us. They look at the way we look. They see that we're independent. They see that we cook. They target certain things. That's why they want certain women. And some of them are just as foolish as us. They go out there and get the wrong ones. Same way that we do as women. Men do the same thing. You guys do the same thing. Go out there and get these little foolish women. Because they're really not women, they little girls, just like the men, they little boys. If a person does not want to take responsibility for themselves, they're not going to be able to take responsibility for you. And ladies, as the man being our head, he has to want to take responsibility. He has to. How can he lead you? How can any leader lead without taking responsibility? They can't. Would you want a pastor that don't want to take responsibility? And some of you are under pastors like that, but hey, that's a whole nother topic. But you have to do the rules of elimination. I'm just giving you some things to think about because so many people are getting caught up in these bad relationships. Some people been married 3, 4, 5 times, 2, 3 times, 1 time, whatever. instead of keep going out getting these bad relationships and wondering what's going on. It's because the lack of knowledge, you are perishing. That's the whole key. Somewhere you're missing it. You're not in your word. You're not doing it God's way. You're cursing yourself. You're doing it the world's way. The enemy comes to steal, kill, rob, and destroy from you. These people that come in your life is on assignment from the enemy to take you out, to steal, kill, rob, and destroy you. And you still ain't clicked in your mind what's going on. You need to realize that the enemy comes to take you out. He's playing for keeps, babies, by any means necessary. And the number one attack is to send somebody in your life to take you out. Some of you been fighting for your life from your childhood. You done went through molestation. You done went through rape. You done been in school. You've been picked on. You've been seeing the warfare all through your whole life. And everybody been in the warfare one way or another, but they don't realize it's warfare. A lot of things going on is warfare, the enemy. So when you get with somebody and you marry somebody, you want to make sure they can be in battle with you. You need somebody strong enough to fight in this war with you. Babies, you have to do the rules of elimination. You have to set boundaries for yourself. Know what you want. You know, when you don't know what you want, you fall for anything. Anything that sounds good and looks good, you'll fall for because you don't have boundaries. What is your boundaries for yourself? And God already does set boundaries for ourselves. I go through this thing every day and so often with women like, no, we're not supposed to be having sex before we get married. I don't care if you already were sexually active before you came to God. You got to get self-control in that area. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. And it's going to be rough in the beginning. Yes, it will. Especially when you're immature. Because I tell you, it's maturity that comes with this. And recognizing the enemy. Because when you recognize the enemy and you really learn God, you're not going to want to go over there and sleep with the enemy. You're not going to open yourself up to demonic presence. You're going to understand that sex opens the door to an array of demons that come in your life and take you into captivity. So many silly women, just like that scripture, silly women, they're in captivity because they gave their body to these men and they done became their masters. And that's why you wonder why a lot of women are like, okay, they can't get rid of them. They don't want to leave him. No matter what this man is doing to her, she don't want to leave him. She's in captivity. And every time she keep going back, laying down with him and screwing him, she puts herself right back into captivity to that demonic spirit. She's in captivity. A lot of men are in captivity. That's why they can't leave these people. It's a type of slavery. And that's why they do anything for them. The people doing anything to them. And they still going back, doing whatever. Cooking, cleaning, sticking with them through thick and thin, paying their bills, taking care of them and stuff. That's why. They're in slavery. They're in slavery. When they gave their body to them, they gave themselves to them. They in captivity. And the only one that gets you out of captivity, and I know this from my own personal life, because I've been in captivity, it takes God to free you from that type of captivity. And fasting and prayer, because he really got to touch your mind and your spirit. You really got to sell it to God. He's got to deliver you from that captivity. People can talk to you all day long. That's why you can talk to people. You can tell them. They looking at you. You wonder like, I done told them, and why they ain't understanding, why they ain't listening. Because just like God said, and I never understood this. God kept telling me, don't cast my pearls among swine. And I always thought of that in the context as money given to people and stuff like that. But now, you may get revelation knowledge from God. You may be getting understanding from God. You may got an understanding of a type of situation. And you go and tell them people and try to help them. Like, girl, you need to get out of there, honey. He's no good for you. He's cheating on you or whatever. But no matter how much she come to you and cry on your shoulder and you tell her and give her good information, just like a pig going back to the slop, that's what they do. And that's why God said, don't cast your pearls upon swine. Your pearls is the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding that you have. Everybody can't, all they do is you cast them pearls. Revelation, knowledge, and understanding and wisdom is pearls. And when you give it to those swine, all they do is go back to their same mess, same captivity, same raggedy lives, same raggedy atmosphere. Keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. They like swine going back to the slop. And you just gave them pearls of wisdom. Pearls of wisdom. You don't cast your pearls among a swine that's going to continue to go back to the slop. No matter what you say to them, no matter how many you give them some good wisdom. Good wisdom. Good tips. You don't just cast your pearls among swine, because they're going right back to the slop, right back to the mess. Because they in captivity. They in captivity. They don't realize they in captivity. The moment they open their legs, they went into captivity. They went into captivity. That demonic spirit locked them down. And they in modern day slavery in their own house. They in captivity. So many people in their houses in captivity. And you wonder why they won't leave. They're sleeping in separate beds. They don't get along. They cheating on each other. Why they don't leave? Because they still screwing each other. And they in captivity with each other. They're in slavery to that demonic spirit. It holds both of them captivity, holds them in captivity together, and then now they're going to get other people, putting them in captivity. And babies, I didn't mean to go on to that, but however, whoever needs it, catch it, get out of captivity, set boundaries for yourself, do the rules of elimination. I'm going to come back and revisit it. This is a long topic. I didn't want to plan on being on here long. But babies, just learn the rules of elimination for your life. Set some boundaries for your life. Set boundaries. We all have things that we'll deal with and things that we won't deal with. You have to set boundaries. And don't take down, especially the God-given boundaries. Certain things God does not want us to do. We don't have to get caught up in being in captivity if we follow God. It's so true. For the lack of knowledge, God's people are perishing. He don't want you to perish, baby. He don't want you to perish. He don't want you to perish. He don't want you to get in a relationship that's going to end. A lot of people out here these days, they're not even marriage material. They're not even committed people. They don't even want to commit. They can't even commit to a job. They can't even commit to going to school. They can't even commit to a good friendship. And you think you're going to marry them and they're going to be committed to you? They're not. They still think like they single. It's all about them. And people that are selfish, honey, you can't get with no selfish person. They're going to eat you alive because it's all about them. It's self-serving. That's the whole thing. What is it? Selfish. Self-serving. It's all about them serving themselves. If it don't serve no purpose for them, they could care less. Everything that they do at the end of the day is about serving them and what's going to make them happy and what's going to work out for them. You can't get in no relationship with nobody like that. And you think they're going to change. But you could be with them 10, 20, 30 years and they'll still be the same person unless God get hold of them and transform them by the renewing of their mind. Babies, just do some rules of elimination. Set some boundaries for yourself. Get in God and learn His word and learn His ways. Learn the fruit of the Spirit so that you won't be deceived. So that you won't get in relationships with people that are being used by the enemy. Because everybody coming in your life ain't coming from God. And you need to learn that. That's one of the rules of elimination that you need to apply to your life. How to eliminate these people. Are they sent by God or are they sent by the enemy? And one way you're going to know is they're going to take you off the path from God. They're going to pull you away from God. But somebody sent by God, it's going to make your relationship with God stronger. They're not going to help you do things that's against God. It's going to be all about God. Both of you are going to think about Him first. But somebody that's coming from the enemy, it ain't about God. They could care less about your God. It's going to move you away from God, and you'll see it. That's a distraction. That's a trick of the enemy. He's going to sit this person in your life, not God. And that's why you need to know the fruit of the Spirit. So you'll know them by their fruit. Are they walking in the fruit of the Spirit? Are they really of God? Even if they're saying that they're with God, are they really of God? Learn the fruit of the Spirit. See if they're manifesting the fruit of the Spirit. So you can eliminate these people that's not sent by God in your life. And so that you don't get caught up in bad relationships, after bad relationships, after bad relationships. Instead of having unforgiveness and hurt in your heart. Because each relationship's put a callus over your heart. That even though you get in another relationship, you ain't even really opening up to them people. You just got them because you don't want to be alone, or because you got a sexual appetite that you want to be fed. No, God wants you to experience real love. He wants you to experience a real committed relationship where you do become one. He wants you to be in covenant. Just like he wants you in covenant with him, he wants you to be in covenant with your spouse, with the person that comes in your life. Like I said before, early in the beginning of this video, so many people, they have a contract. Their marriage is a contract, and contracts can be broken. Covenant is a whole nother situation. Covenants can't be broken. That's why God said, well, he joined together, let no man put asunder. Because they're in covenant. It's a difference. Most people ain't in no covenant. Especially ones that ain't saved. They're not in no covenant relationship. It's flesh. Number flesh. And that's why a lot of them go through. You look at 90% of the marriages now, probably 95% of the marriage, only probably 1% of them really is from God. Now, I'll give them 5%. Babies, I love you. And so does God. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. And do the rules of elimination. Write on a piece of paper what's your rules of elimination. And how you're going to know them is you go by God's word. What does he tell you to do when it comes to relationships and marriages? A lot of things is common sense, but common sense ain't common sense to everybody. Because of their mindset and the way that they think. The things they have learned. So it's not common sense to them. And that's why we got to get in there and learn God's way so we don't perish. You want knowledge. Knowledge is power. Knowledge will stop you from perishing. But you want the knowledge of God, not the knowledge of the world, which so many people are operating out of. You want the knowledge of God. Babies, I love you, and so does God. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Smooches and singles, it's not, how can I put this? Singles is not as grueling and dark as you may think it is. God has somebody for you. The same way he's working on you, he's working on that person that he wants to put in your life. Just continue to surrender to God. Continue to stay open to God. I tell you, it's a beautiful thing. But it's not as dark and cold as you think it is. God has somebody for you. Babies, I love you, and so do God. Smooches. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.